novel, if you take, for example, if you take a novel of Charles Dickens, and then you take a novel of, let's say, let's
Chetan
say,
Bhagat, Arvind Forsats.
yes, all the writers who are, let's say, for example, you take a novel by J.K. Rowling, or you take another novel, uh, of today's time, and then you take a novel of Thomas Hardy and Charles Dickens, you will find the kind of language that they used to use, you know, the kind of language they used to say, the Victorian society, the people of Victorian society, and the kind of language we use in today's time. Okay, so do you understand how the language is also different?
Yes,
Yes?
ma'am.
Okay. So let's come to your syllabus. What do you have in your syllabus? Just a second. Okay, so I think I told you about what is a popular literature, what are the critical approaches and kind of literature, popular literature today. What kind of literature is coming out? You have science fiction, you have, you have, you know, you will find some novels that are dealing with the marine life, okay, that are called nautical literature. That is a genre, nautical literature. Okay, then you have some horror books. Okay, some horror books. You must have read. Have you read Stephen King? It by Stephen King. It is a horror book. Okay, then you have psychological thrillers, and you have some other supernatural things. You have comedy. You have romance. Okay, all these things, all these books, and then you have movie adaptation. Okay, you have movie adaptation. You will see that there are some popular literature which, they are being adapted to movies. They are being adapted into making movies. There are some really eminent directors who take inspiration from all these books and they make a movie out of it. Like, say, for example, you have Three Idiots. Yes, Three Idiots, that has been taken by Chetan Bhagat,
Yes.
Chetan
And
Bhagat's
Half
book.
Girlfriend of Chetan Bhagat also.
Yes,
Ma'am, another novel of Chetan Bhagat, Half Girlfriend.
yes, Two States, Half Girlfriend. Yes. Then also, these there are some books that has been adopted. J.K. Rowling. Okay, Harry Potter. Right, Harry Potter. If we talk about Harry Potter at
Yes,
first
that
it
was a
came as book.
sensation.
Exactly, it was a sensation. It came out in 7 parts. Okay, and it also created a huge blast in the movie theaters as well. Right. If we talk about J.R.R. Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, okay, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, then you have Game of Thrones. In fact, Game of Thrones, the series that today's people they watch, it also came out as a book at first. Okay, then it was adopted into series. Okay, you will find that in fact there are some writers, there are some directors who are taking inspiration or stories from books like Ruskin Bond, books by Ruskin Bond. You must have watched Vishal Bharadwaj's Satgun Maaf. Okay, so it has been taken by a book from a book written by Ruskin Bond. Okay, Blue Umbrella. Blue Umbrella, it was also written by Ruskin Bond, which has been adapted into movie by Vishal Bharadwaj. Okay, so I think you have Blue Umbrella for your syllabus. Okay, you have Blue Umbrella for your syllabus. Uh, so the Blue Umbrella, it is basically about a girl who is, who got a blue umbrella um, by some foreigners. Okay, by some foreigners, she gets a blue umbrella. Just a second. Okay. So, yes. So there is this girl who gets a blue umbrella by some foreigners in exchange of a leopard pendant. So she is in love with that blue umbrella. She is so much obsessed about that blue umbrella, that little girl, that she roams around the entire village carrying that blue umbrella. And then there is a shopkeeper who gets jealous of that little girl, and he wants that blue umbrella from that little girl. He uses all kinds of tactics and everything to get that blue umbrella, by hook or by crook. So later he decides that he must steal it from that girl. Okay, he must steal it from that girl. Then he gets another boy to steal that blue umbrella. So this is a really beautiful story. It's a really beautiful story where the girl, the blue umbrella. It's really gorgeous. The girl, she then realizes that it is due to her, it is due to her obsession, it is due to her attitude of showing off that made the tea seller, that made that shopkeeper stoop down so low. Okay, because that girl, she was showing off her umbrella so much, it made the shopkeeper really jealous. So what happens in the later part, she decides to give that blue umbrella to the shopkeeper. And that shopkeeper, he also has a change of heart, and he decides to give that give a pendant, a leopard pendant, to that girl in return. Okay, so these are some of the stories that you will come across in popular literature. This has been, I think, this has been also made into a movie, The Blue Umbrella. Okay, so the popular literature these days, the popular literature, there are so many directors, there are so many script writers, there are so many people from um, movie industry. They do find a chance, they do find a chance to, to take that particular storyline and make it into a movie for, so that the audience will get attracted. For example, there are a set of audience. There are a set of audience who will like to read books more than watching movies. Right. They will like to read books more than watching movies. But then there are some audience who would like to read books and who would like to to watch movies as well. Right. Then you will find another set of audience who will only watch movie, because books are really huge, and it will take a lot of time to complete a book, and some people just find it boring. So they simply go and watch the movie. So what is happening? When they're adapting a book, when they're adapting a book to a movie, so they are also getting profits. The directors, the producers, you know, the movies, they also, they make it a major hit. At least they try to make it a major hit. Right. So, you will find in popular literature in contemporary times, you will find that the books and the writers, they have a deep connection with the movie industry. Okay. So I think this is also something that you have for your syllabus, movie adaptation. Okay. And how Vishal Bharadwaj, he has taken taken inspiration from, Vishal Bharadwaj, he always takes inspiration from Ruskin Bond. Okay, so if you have seen Saat Khoon Maaf, okay, if you have seen Saat Khoon Maaf, this is also a book by Ruskin Bond, which, Vishal Bharadwaj, he has made it into a movie. Okay, so the name of the book is Susanna's Seven Husbands. Right. The name of the book is Susanna Seven Husbands. So Vishal Bharadwaj, he has taken that story from that book, and he made it into a movie. And as we all know, Priyanka Chopra is in that VNL. Okay, so am I making myself clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what about others?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, uh, so what else do you have? Yes, you have Through the Looking Glass. Okay, you have Through the Looking Glass, and that book, Through the Looking Glass, it is actually a sequel to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Have you heard of this book, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland? Alice in Wonderland, have you heard about it? Yes?
No, ma'am.
You haven't heard of Alice in Wonderland? It is a really famous book. Okay, it comes under the section of children's literature. Okay, children's literature is another, it is subgenre. It is another category. Children's literature. And Alice in Wonderland, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and the second part of this book, which is Through the Looking Glass, these things they come under children's literature. So, so make sure, you read something about children's literature. Okay, you must have heard about of Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast. Have you heard of these stories?
Yes, ma'am. Cinderella and Snow White. I know.
Yes, yes. So these books actually, in fact, all of these have been taken from books. Okay, these come under children literature. Okay, children's literature, right?
Cinderella
So
was famous one.
yes, be it Cinderella, be it Red Riding Hood,
No, Cinderella I have heard first. No, and Cinderella read that, but no, not through the others.
exactly. These are children's literature. Of course, in today's time, we are not going to go back to read Cinderella or Snow White or Beauty and the Beast or any such thing. We don't usually do that when we grow up. But in the field of research, in the field of literature, in the field of humanities, children's literature, it is a very important section. There are many people who have time and again they have researched about these these children literature, about the books that are called as children's literature, what are being portrayed in children's literature, what is the situation that the children are kept in. Okay, what kind of you know what kind of innocence that they have, the children, what kind of innocence that they have. They like music, they love to dance, they like to play out with the friends, they like to get dirty, they, all these things. You will also find some really sad things about these children literature. Okay, when we read a children literature, we won't find all these things because we read it for entertainment purpose, we read it for our leisure time. But then there are some research scholars, they have taken out many themes and many images which can be really different from how we used to perceive these books. Okay, so children literature, it is also a section. It is a complete different section which comes under literature, and you know, if time permits, then just go through the evolution of children's literature, how children literature started, why it started, how it got evolved with different centuries. Okay, what kind of children literature used to come during those times, and what kind of children literature we are getting in 21st century. Okay, then of course you have through the looking class, but personally I would recommend you that, you know, before reading through the looking glass you need to read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, because through the looking glass it is a sequel, or it is the second part of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Okay, this is a book by Lewis Carroll, right? So the chapters are really few, it's not that a huge book. So get that book, get both the books. Okay, you have you have Through the Looking Glass in your syllabus, but for your sake, and according to my personal opinion, I would say that before reading Through the Looking Glass, go and read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. All right. So that also comes under your children's literature. Okay. Alice, she's a girl who was getting bored one day, and she was just reading a book, and then she suddenly sees a rabbit getting into a hole, into a tiny hole, and she follows that rabbit. Okay, she follows that rabbit and she falls down in that hole. She falls down in that hole, and then uh, you know she gets into a different world. Okay, there is a different world where the there is a queen of cards, and there is this evil queen. Then there is a joker, Mad Hatter. Then there is a talking hare. Okay, so this is a really interesting book. Of course we don't have time to to go through everything right now. So just go through that book, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, before you start reading Looking Through the um, what is the book? Through the Looking Glass. Okay, am I making myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Okay, and try to understand how and why the books are getting adapted, and how and why the books are being made into movies. A question can come from that part. Okay, you might be asked to read an to write an essay on such questions. Okay, so for your semester exams, obviously you will have to, you will be made to attempt long questions. Yes, long questions that might be of 16 marks or 20 marks. So when you write an answer, if it's a 20-mark answer, then make sure, your answer is of minimum of 4 or 5 pages. Right. And as I told you before, make sure that your introduction and your conclusion is, it's perfect. It's accurate. Okay. The quotations that you give, they have to be accurate as well. You cannot alter the quotation. You cannot write a quotation however you want. All right. So prepare your notes beforehand. Okay, prepare your notes beforehand. Jot down the points. What are the main themes that you are going to address? What are the main themes that there are in that particular book? Right? What are the themes? What are the characters? The character sketch. Character sketch is really important. Okay, character of Alice, or character of that small girl, or character of that of that shopkeeper. Yes, character sketch is really important. You can either call it character sketch or character analysis. Okay, and then make sure to give a brief idea about the writer. Just write 1 or 2 lines about the writer, and write in your introduction, the question should reflect, you know the question, the particular question should reflect in your introduction, because that is the first thing your examiner is going to see, is your introduction. your introduction and your conclusion. That needs to be perfect. All right. Is there anything else you would like to ask me? Yes?
Ma'am, can't we
Yes?
add quotations in our question, long question?
Yes, yes. If it is a poetry, be it poetry, be it a novel, be it a play, add quotations to your answers. That will, that will strengthen your answer. But remember that quotation has to be accurate. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
If you are giving, and don't, if you're giving a quotation, that make sure you give the quotation mark. When those lines are in quotation mark, that means it has to be accurate. The examiner will see that you have taken that line straight from the book, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So anything else? Okay, so I guess you don't have any more questions or any more doubts. I really hope that you understood, you got the points that I was talking about, I was talking on, and I really hope that you have taken down, or you have jotted down all the points. Okay, so I think I will just end the class here. All right. Uh, I really want to take a break of 10 minutes because we have another class. Okay, another class after this. So let me just end here. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
ma'am.
Thank
Thank
Okay.
you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ, କିଏ ଜଣେ
Hello.
ଜଏନ୍ ହେଇନାହାନ୍ତି, ପ୍ଲିଜ୍ ଜଏନ୍, ମାନେ ତାଙ୍କ ନମ୍ବର ଦେଇଥିବେ, ଜଏନ୍ ହେଇଯିବେ। ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ଜଣେ କିଏ ବୋଧହୁଏ ଜଏନ୍ ହେଇନାହାନ୍ତି।
1 minute. ଗ୍ରୁପ ରେ ଥାଅ ସମସ୍ତେ।
ପୂଜା ବୋଧହୁଏ ଜଏନ୍ ହେଇନାହାନ୍ତି, ମାନେ ଜାଣି ତ ପାରୁନି କିଏ ଜଏନ୍ ହେଇନାହାନ୍ତି, ବଟ୍ ଭାବୁଛି
ପୂଜା ଜଏନ୍ ହେଇଛନ୍ତି।
ଆଉ
ନାଇଁ
ଜଣେ କିଏ
ମୁଁ
ଜଏନ୍,
ଜଏନ୍
ଓକେ।
ହେଇନି ମୁଁ ଜଏନ୍
କିଏ?
ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ୍।
ଯଜ୍ଞ
ତମ ନମ୍ବର ଏଇଠି
ଭାଗ୍ୟଶ୍ରୀ।
ମେସେଜ, ନହେଲେ ମୋର ନମ୍ବରଟା।
ମୁଁ ମେସେଜ କରିଦଉଛି ତମ ନମ୍ବରକୁ।
ଓକେ। ଗ୍ରୁପ ଆଡମିନ୍ ଯିଏ ଅଛ ସେୟାର କରିଦଉନ ଲିଙ୍କ ଟା। ନା ପୁଷ୍ପାଞ୍ଜଳି ଗ୍ରୁପ ଆଡମିନ୍ ଅଛ ସେୟାର କରୁନ ଲିଙ୍କ ଟା।
ହଁ ହଁ କରିଦଉଛି।
କାଲି ଆଉ ଜଣେ ବି କ୍ଲାସରେ ଥିଲେ, ଅଙ୍କିତ ନା କଣ ତାଙ୍କ ନା, ସିଏ ଆଜି କ୍ଲାସ କରୁନାହାନ୍ତି ରେ।
ମୁଁ ଭୁଲ ନମ୍ବର ଟା ଦେଇ ଦେଇଥିଲି ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ସଆପ ନମ୍ବର ଦବା ବଦଳରେ ଆର ନମ୍ବର ଟା ଦେଇ ଦେଇଥିଲି। ମତେ
ହଁ
ଆଡ
ସେଇଟା
କରିଦେଲେ
ମୁଁ
ଜଣେ।
ଭାବିଲି ଭୁଲରେ ବ୍ଲକ କରିଦେଇଛି ନା କଣ ଶୁଣିବ।
ହଁ ହଁ ମୁଁ ଭୁଲ ନମ୍ବର ଦେଇ ଦେଇଥିଲି। ତମକୁ ଯୋଉଟାରେ ମେସେଜ କରିଥିଲି ବୋଧେ ସେଇଟା ବ୍ଲକ କରିଦେଇଛ। ଏବେ ମୁଁ ଯୋଉ ଚାଟ ବକ୍ସ ରେ ଦେଇଥିଲି ସେଇଟା ଭୁଲ ନମ୍ବର ଟା।
ହଁ ସେଇଟା ଅଲଗା
ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ସଆପ ନମ୍ବର
ଟା।
ନୁହଁ। ହୁଁ
ହଁ
ଅଲଗା
ହଁ।
ନମ୍ବର ଟା।
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ହ୍ୟାଲୋ।
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ କୁହନ୍ତୁ।
ହଁ ସାର୍ ମାନେ ଆଉ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ମାନେ ଯେତିକି କ୍ଲାସ ନଉଛନ୍ତି ନା, ତାଙ୍କର ନମ୍ବର ବି ମାଗିକି ଆମେ ଆଡ କରିନେବା।
ହଁ ଏବେ ନେକ୍ସଟ କ୍ଲାସରେ, ମାନେ ମୁଁ ଏବେ କହିଥାନ୍ତି, ଯୋଉ ଆମର କଣ୍ଡକ୍ଟ ଯିଏ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଆରସି ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ସେ ସାର୍,
ହଁ
ସିଏ ତ
ଅଜିତ
ରହିଲେ।
ସାରଙ୍କର ନମ୍ବର ରହିବ, ଆଉ
ହଁ
ମ୍ୟାଡାମଙ୍କର
ଆଉ
ନମ୍ବର
ବାକି
ରହିବ, ଆଉ
ସମସ୍ତ
ହଁ ଯେତିକି ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ
ହୁଁ
ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟ ରହୁଛନ୍ତି ନା, ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର ଆଡ କରିଦେବା।
ହଁ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର କରିଦେବେ। ମୁଁ ଅଜିତ ସାରଙ୍କୁ କିଏ ବି ମାନେ କହିଥାନ୍ତେ, ବଟ୍ ସାର୍ ତ ଏବେ ରହିଲେନି ନା
ହଁ
ଗ୍ରୁପରେ
ହଁ
ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ। ନେକ୍ସଟ କ୍ଲାସରେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟିଂରୁ କହିଦେବା।
ଓକେ।
କି? ଦି ଜଣ ଏକା ବୋଧେ। ଲେଫ୍ଟ ହେଲା ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଲିଙ୍କ ତାର ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ସେୟାର କରିଦବା।